Hi, everybody, and welcome to TNM Unplugged, the space when you elevate your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, and your spirit to the next level of itself, the space when you refresh, re-energize, and learn new things. And today, we're going to learn about the art and mastery of coaching. We're going to look into what really makes good coaching. What is good coaching? That's a really, really significant topic. And today I have a very special guest who shares my passion for coaching, who loves coaching deeply, who has been coaching for such a long time, and it's on the mastery level of coaching as well. So I'm so happy and pleased to welcome Giuseppe Totino to join me. He is Master Certified Coach. He's also mentor coach for many coaches around the world. He has an exclusive, expanding, invigorating coaching career. Only over past 10 years, he has worked with more than 1,000 top executives, mid-managers, emerging leaders, coaching them to become a better people, to run successful businesses, to be the best possible versions of themselves. He lived and traveled across the world. He speaks multiple languages. He has more than 2,500 hours of coaching, which is incredible and nice. He can do all of this in English, Spanish, Italian, and French. What people usually say about Giuseppe, and you're going to feel this yourself as well when we start this conversation, is that he has this amazing infectious energy, wonderful coaching presence. He's a powerful listener, and he's really able to challenge people to transform. Recently, he has also launched his own individual mentor coaching platform when he's inviting a lot of coaches to come and experience his profound mentoring to become the best possible coaches themselves. A lot of this you can find out on his personal website, giuseppetotino.com. So, Giuseppe, welcome to the call.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Quite excited about this opportunity and very happy to be with you today.
So, we chatted in preparation to this call, and we said it would be great to talk about this art of coaching and to really, distill for our listeners, what is good coaching? What is it? How does it work? How do you recognize a good coach? How do you know what to look for in coach and in coaching process? Basically, we really would love to educate people to know what this art can deliver to everybody in the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we had our conversation, I also was aligned with you to the importance of talking of quality coaching. What is quality coaching? And I think it's important from both perspectives, both of the perspective of the client and the perspective of the coach. And I would say maybe it's also important from the perspective of the profession in general, because everybody, as we know, can say, I'm a coach, and that's fine. What it takes, though, for a coach to deliver quality coaching, that's something we can explore together. Maybe we will have fun having this conversation.
Exactly. And I'm also passionate about this because nowadays, when the coaching profession became so popular, it's expanding and growing around the world. It's a completely different situation than when we started with the pioneering, the origin of the coaching. So from your perspective, if you were to define this for our listeners, what is the good quality coaching from your angle? What would you say to that?
Yes, thank you for this great question. And I agree with you. Coaching has evolved. And with it, we need to evolve as professionals. Yeah, and also our clients evolve in terms of what they're looking for. And it's more sophisticated, the requests that we receive. And so it's important to really keep the pace of it. So what is quality coaching? I would say it depends, because it depends on the perspective, what we are looking for. So I would say as a mentor that is supporting coaches to grow with their experience, but also with their ability to show competency in the ICF competencies in particular. That's where we are coming from when we give our credentials. Obviously, these are the ICF credentials, but I would like to say there are many additional organizations which are equally respectable. But from an ICF perspective, I would say quality coaching to me means when we look from the perspective of a coach, alignment with the coaching core competencies. And I'd like to imagine that as we grow and expand in our competency level, as you were saying, we move from being a technician to being an artist. I like to say that as every artist, they have the exactly same colors at their disposal, but how they mix them and how they just create new ways of using those colors, that is what makes uniqueness. That what generates unique art. I'd like to imagine that the same applies to coaching. And what I do, I love to hear the uniqueness in every coach and every coaching that we are generating, that we craft. So quality coaching from that perspective means the alignment with the core competencies. It might be a little bit different when we look at the client side, and maybe we can talk about that as well.
And I would like to build on what you said. I love that notion that of the artistry, and that the quality of the artist is actually their ability to mix up their colors and show up authentically who they are in the coaching space, and not being afraid to show their true colors. Because sometimes, as you said, there's a distinction between good technician, and when you learn the craft of coaching, you learn the tools and skills and competences, even if you align to the ICF core coaching competences, that still doesn't make this special magic of you shine through, right? And to begin to be that, authentic self in that coaching space. So how do you think people can get there, in a way that they will show up more of themselves in the coaching space?
Well, I'd like to tap on what you said, actually, because that you mentioned about not being afraid. So maybe there is this, if I understand you correctly, the idea of vulnerability involved. And obviously, this is attached to the growth of a coach. At the beginning, a coach is trying to understand themselves and trying to understand how they can show up in the world. And over time, as they build this confidence, obviously they're able to, go back to my metaphor, mix the colors in a very unique way. And it takes some vulnerability to do so. But I would like to expand maybe. And if we look at the new coaching core competencies that are the 2019 ICF coaching core competencies, we have a great new competency, which is it's always been in the air, but never has been really put in words. And that is embodying the coaching mindset. So if we look at what that says and what it means for a coach, I would say coaches just look at that competency and live it every day. Try to just embody this mindset little by little, day by day. And that is, to me, a way to expand. So we talk about, for example, in broad terms, being curious, being open, be flexible, being client-centered. These are big words. And what it means for each coach to be open, flexible, client-centered. I mean, the big questions are, who am I in this relationship? How do I show up? How do I create my own role within our partnership? So this is a work that takes a bit of time, Zoran, right? As we know, and we talked about how coaching is evolving, we also evolve as human beings constantly. And the more we experience the engagement in coaching, the more we discover the possibilities that are out there. So maybe one key piece of this mindset is to believe that it's a never-ending learning story for us. We can always add pieces to it. And so I was actually, if I can tell a story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was just the other day talking to one of my mentees about this. In other words, I was reviewing this recording, and this mentee of mine is working with me towards MCC. And as I was reviewing this recording, it became clear to me that the mentee wanted to, the coach, my mentee, wanted to be on top of the conversation. almost a kind of making it in a way rational what should be the events within the conversation where the client was going to go, and somehow anticipating that or explaining to the client, helping the client. And it was clear to me that this was happening out of a big passion, out of a big love for the client, if I may say so.
Yes.
And yet, what was missing was the fact that the coach was kind of letting aside the trust in the client, that the client could take this conversation anywhere. And that was fine. That's the openness, the flexibility. And so when I went back to my client and I said, look, it's to me that this is going on. And I asked, what would it take for you to let the client surprise you? Just let it go, just dance with the client, be flexible. Follow the flow. And as soon as I said that, something clicked in my mentee, if you will, because we are probably trained to be very rational. Things happen in a sequence, and if then, that kind of thing. So one big piece is this.
Yeah, for me, that story is beautiful because, I was laughing as you were saying that, we need to be flexible as yoga practitioners and yoga instructors, that flexibility, the openness, the ability to follow through with the coaching process is amazing. And I also want to highlight what you said, which was, inspiring to me to remember that we are in this ever learning, ever growing, ever evolving reality, that when you are offering a good quality coaching, you put yourself in the space of learner, which is completely counterintuitive to what we've been taught in the school and education, that you have to be on top of it, right? You have to know, you have to master, you have to show up as a professional who is completely, I know it. And what you were doing with your mentee was actually inviting him to be in the true mastery of coaching, when he is allowing the coachee to surprise them, which is exactly that, holding the space for them to shine, to show up, and to come up with the solutions to their life challenges, instead of waiting for the coachee to give them the feedback to how to resolve the issues. Wonderful.
Exactly. And this is exactly the point of when we are with the client, we allow things to happen. We allow things to emerge. And one of the things that we want to be competent with, I don't know if it's about competency or it's about something else, is that we are going to be comfortable with not knowing. We don't need to know, right?
Yes.
And this is one piece that has been there for quite some time. But in the new core competency of the new coaching core competencies, the 2019, and these new core competencies of mindset, there is one sub-competency which I think speaks to what we are talking about, which is self-awareness. That the coach use self-awareness and the proper intuition to the benefit of the clients. And this is, in my opinion, a key change in how we see coaching today. In other words, to benefit the client, we need to be self-aware as a coach, where we are in our, if you want, evolution. I know you do
evolutionary coaching, so that's
evolution.
exactly,
and that's exactly it. We are evolving as a human being. This is a constant evolution. It's not that, on January 1st of next year, we are evolved. We keep going. But having this mindset that to help others, we need to be self-aware. And we also need to tap into the intuition. We can go back to that point of how intuition plays a role, especially in quality coaching, and how this affects communication, for example. What it means for the clients. How do we differentiate this from being an advisor? And is there a possibility? That kind of questions are important. But I wanted to highlight for now how now we know that to benefit clients, we need to be, as a coach, self-aware. this opens up a full array of possibilities for us as coaches. You were mentioning meditation, yoga, and a number of other practices, which means daily, which means by the minute, as we speak, we need to have that awareness that we, the more are self-aware, we can benefit others, especially our clients. I think this has been, for me, mind-blowing. It really characterizes a coach and differentiate them from other professions. And so maybe looking for quality coaching, going back to our question, it can be that a client can go to a coach and say, what do you practice? What do you do to be self-aware? And really assess it so that not makes one coach less worth of others, but rather distinctively different from one another. Because in coaching, we bring our whole self, and there are not two individuals that are alike. The beauty of life is this: we are so unique, and it's important that we relay the uniqueness. And to do so, I think it's important that we are constantly open to expand that self-awareness. This is important for the client, and is equally important for the coaches that want to tell the world that they do deliver quality coaching.
Absolutely. And from your self-awareness, your questions will come, the profound listening will come, which also defines coaching, the way how you relate to people, how you build a rapport, what is the frequency, what is the coaching space that you're holding for a person who is coming into a conversation with you. That, for me, all of those subtle quality energies, I can use the word energies here, come from that space of self-awareness as well. I think so self-awareness becomes crucial. And I see this in my mentorship as well. The more work that coach is doing on themselves, building themselves up, exploring the reality, exploring the consciousness, understanding, expanding, as you beautifully said, knowing themselves, who am I, who am I as a human being and who am I as a coach, defines this quality as well. And also what you mentioned is super important to me as well, that ability to be comfortable with not knowing, which is the huge right now. We are in this global pandemic and things are happening, and we're so used to knowing, and predicting our life, right? Next year I'm going to go on holiday, then I'm going to do this, and then my daughter or son is going to go to school or maybe to university. So the life is really predictable, right? So we're all kind of bubbling around, relaxing. But in coaching, if you really show up as a master and want to deliver quality, you have to be comfortable with not knowing and with surprises, right? Because if you're comfortable with that in that space, then, as you mentioned, from your intuition and from your gut and from your awareness, the good interaction will happen. And I see this with the new coaching. It's difficult, right? It's difficult to be in that space of not knowing what will happen next and what the other question I'm going to ask, right? It's like, oh my God. And then we see the control of the process, right? Exactly as you mentioned, with your being on top of it, it's controlling the process instead of allowing it to unfold.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have to be strong in that conviction, in that knowing that we can let go on a certain level and trust.
It's a process. It's a process. Yeah. I think, as for any learning in life, it takes a lot of, first of all, good intentions. That's the drive. You need to learn a little bit about the know-how, which in our context means just exactly what we are talking about, the awareness that this is important. And then it takes a lot of practice, being out there, willing to do it, and as you go back to old ways, recognizing it, and then going back to the new ways, reaffirm. It's a kind of like language, learning the language, It's not because I take a class of, let's say, any language, then I can speak that language. I really need to have the motivation, I need to learn the rules, and then I have to practice a lot. English is not my first language. I've been speaking it for a few years already, and I'm still learning every day new. So This is
but you're practicing, you're showing up. You have motivation, you have willingness, and you're showing up, you're practicing, and you're increasing your skill every day through practice, right?
exactly. And this is maybe another aspect of the quality coaching from another angle, which again, for both clients and for coaches can be explored. How do you practice becoming more fluent in the language of coaching? What do you do? In other words, we know it's a business, it's not just a goodwill. We have to be in business. And as we build our business case, we need to tell this story. And we need to, as a coach, be able to tell what we do to really become more fluent in our coaching practice. And for example, within the context of this competency, there are sub-competencies that require the coach to maintain the practice, to always go into the gym, so to speak, of coaching, so that we renew our muscles, we expand the ability to play with them, to use this muscle, because the truth of the matter is that no single client is alike. Not two clients are identical. So we are always exposed to new events, new dynamics, new stories, etc., etc. And so how can we prepare ourselves for that? This can be a powerful story to tell. And that can talk about our quality coaching. And the clients may explore with coaches, tell me about two different stories of your clients and what you did and the challenges that you had and how you dealt with them and so on. And so this competency, the competency number 2, is inviting the coaches to prepare to have that kind of conversation when we talk about business, but also to be prepared to be with your coaches and to recognize that things are not defined or definable. We need to, going back to our point, be prepared for the unknown, which is easily said. I know it's very difficult.
No, I'm still practicing that. Sometimes I show up and I'm completely in a space of a no. But sometimes when I get nervous, for example, if I have a new conversation or there's a high stakes, even after so many years of coaching, sometimes I could be like, oh my God, I need to know what I'm doing right now. I need to prepare. I need to ask good questions. I need to show up. And then very quickly, when you relax in your body and you relax into your knowledge.
And you said something crucial for me. This process of what you're doing that leads you to regulate your emotion, relax, and be present again. This is another part of this competency right now. In this competency too, that the coach is able to regulate their own emotions. And to do that, we now are talking about this nicely and we laugh about it. But when we are in the moment, we know it's not easy. And therefore, we really need to be practicing it. And this competency is calling the coach to do that. Now, when we are able to just do the journey that you mentioned right now, even in situation where the coach is talking about very difficult things to hear for any human being, whether it is within the context of their business life, whether it's the personal life, you name it, what could be the situation. Well, when we are able to still be at the service of the client because we are present, we are centered, we are able to come back. And even if we are affected, we're still able to, as you just mentioned, be back to a relaxed mode that allow me to be with my client and not just with myself, because then when I'm agitated, when I'm triggered, I need to take care of myself first. Otherwise, I cannot take care of others. Well, if we are able to do that, then this is quality coaching. This is quality coaches. And what the quality coach can do is deliver quality coaching. And again, is another piece of the story that we can tell with power that makes us a distinctive, unique coach when we tell it. And for clients, they can explore this too. They can invite their target potential coaches that they are looking to work with to tell this story. And by just listening to that, they start to build the bond, they start to build the trust, they start to build the confidence in this professional. And this is so important, and this is so new right now in our profession. Therefore, coaches really need to stay open and attentive to this evolution.
Wonderful. So I think that we highlighted a lot of important elements to what really defines the quality coaching. What I would love to do, if that's okay, just shift into this question that people usually ask me all the time, because they know I'm coaching, they know I have been coaching for 10 years, and there's a lot of coaches on the market right now. So I have friends and relatives and business partners who come to me and they say, okay, I would love to hire the coach. How do I know if he or she is good? I know this is a tough question, because everybody's good on a certain level, but what we would say to people when they were to ask you, for example, to refer somebody that is a good coach. So let's say that you have a full practice right now and you can't accept anybody, but that person really needs to hire a coach and says, please, Giuseppe, refer me somebody that you know is good. What would you say they need to look at, or how would you define that?
Great question. Thank you. And I would say there is no formula that I can share. And I'd like to go again back to a metaphor, if I may, to just come back to answer you. We all, I suppose, in our life have gone shopping, and there are some of us that like shopping more than others, or there are stages of life when we go and shop more often than not. But so when we go shopping, let's say we go window shopping at the beginning and look for a jacket. And we look at jacket and we say, wow, that's a great jacket. Are we ready to buy? Maybe not. We need to do something else. Maybe we need to go inside the shop, try the jacket on, and see how it fits on us, the color with our outlook, and see if we are comfortable and everything. And maybe we still need to do a little bit of further research before we are ready to make a decision to buy. So it's a process. It takes a few steps. Well, I would say to all potential clients of us that I'm inviting you to go shopping for coaches, because as we have been talking so far, no two coaches are equal or identical. You need to identify the uniqueness of each coach. And then as you see the potential in various coaches, because of what they say or what they write or what other people say about them, that's an important way for coaches to get clients, referrals, etc. Once you do that, go inside the shop and try them on, which means you want to engage with the coach. And there are many ways you can do that depending on circumstances, from having a simple conversation to what we call the chemistry call, for having even maybe a situation where you may want to explore how certain situation can be, in the view of the coach, considered, dealt with, etc. Try to really understand more of whether this individual can become your best partner for what you're trying to achieve. A coach will always be a co-pilot. A coach will never be the pilot. And so you're going to drive, you client, but you want to have a co-pilot to help you win. So you need to really see, as for every human relationship, whether there is this click, this alignment of many elements that make you think, right, this is the jacket I'm going to buy. This is the coach I'm going to partner with that is going to maximize the potential for me to succeed. The key point is no coach should promise results, because we are not, I wish we could anticipate like the manual of life. But you can have the best partner that maximize the potential for success. And then you will be in good hands for sure. And by the way, I want to also to say something, if I may, Zoran.
Yeah, of course.
As coaches, we are trained to not take it personal, which means if we realize that a relationship is not working, with a lot of graciousness, we say namaste. And we can even refer the client to some colleagues. And what I'm trying to say is for a client that realized that maybe that relationship didn't work, and we know human relationship may or may not work. We are humans after all. So if it doesn't work, don't be afraid to say it out loud, because you are putting the coach in a great place of awareness to one, adjust, make the most, to really make it work, this relationship. Maybe the coach needs to understand a few things. Maybe the coach assumed, rightly or wrongly, it doesn't matter, but assumed certain things were in a certain way. And now you're enabling adjustments. And two, if it still doesn't work, just say it out loud. I'd like us to come to a close with this relationship. It's better for both of you rather than having a situation where it doesn't work for no one.
Wonderful. I love how you shared, the whole shopping analogy and selecting and trying things out and making sure that this person is really your co-pilot. And this is a great analogy, great metaphor that people are looking for. And I think that you feel that, for me, when I hired my first coach and my second coach and a third one, and I was talking to different people, even asking for referral, that came a moment that it felt right, but like any relationship, like this feels right. This is the right companion, right buddy, right co-pilot in my life at this stage. Maybe that will change in the future. Some other coach can come later on down the line, but at that moment in time is the right partner for you to keep on moving forward. But it's that feeling that you need to trust and you need to be exploring to find that right person for you. So yeah, that's a good, I'll use that as an advice to all the people who are asking me for referrals all the time. So becoming close to the end, because we can chat around this for a very long time. Yeah. People always advise me kind of keep the format to the maximum of 45 minutes. So let's make sure that we continue talking about it because it's a wonderful topic and I really enjoy chatting with you. So as we're closing up this conversation, where would you like to leave our audience with? If you go backwards to the whole thing about quality coaching, what does it mean? We covered a lot of things. I don't want to summarize it because it's a lot of in-depth exploration from both me and you. Anything that you would love to share or say or you feel you want to offer to complete this conversation with me?
Yes. To our potential clients, I would like to say there's never been a better time to use coaching and in your business, in your life, and to use coaches, because now there are thousands of us. It's unimaginable that you cannot find the perfect coach for you. And coaches has been proven to really work in any dynamic of life. It's not the only way, of course, but it has been proven to work in any directions of life, and it's really effective. So please go out there and find the best co-pilot, the best partner for you. To coaches, coaching is evolving. And whether or not you are from the ICF, coaching is a wonderful invitation, not just to be best for our clients, but to be best for our own self, for our own life. I like to say that coaching is like a call for us to improve as a human person. And this is not an easy journey. There are many other ways, for sure. But if you are into coaching, keep exploring, because we are having an enormous potential to discover. And so, to use the word that Zoran likes, which is evolution, yes, an evolution that is never ending. We just need to be willing to do it. And so I invite you to keep exploring, because you will find, as I did, as Zoran did, you will, and we keep finding, by the way. It's not that we arrived anywhere. In fact, I'm thirsty to find more for myself. Keep exploring, because you will be rich in a number of ways for yourself and for the others, whether it is a personal, intimate level or for your client.
Giuseppe, thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your mastery, your artistry of coaching. I've learned a lot. I'm sure our audience is going to learn a lot from this podcast. I really hope we're going to meet each other soon and keep on unfolding this conversation of the art of coaching. What is the good quality coaching? Keep on educating our audience and other coaches to be the best possible version of themselves. To the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to TNM Unplugged. Lots of love to everybody and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you for having me here. Bye-bye.